everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming out this morning or whatever time it is, wherever you are. And yeah, let's just begin a half an hour sit together, be lightly guided. And no meditating or no levitating upside down this time. Everyone on the ground. Well, we could just contemplate for a few moments how precious it is to be able to stop and turn inward as motivation for the practice this morning. Reflecting on the moments of your life and how many of them are spent in stillness, turning inward. And also contemplating how precious it is to be doing so with a group of people, a group of people dedicated to finding peace within themselves so that peace can move out into the world. This is indeed rare and precious. And so using this motivation to take full advantage of this time, it is so sacred. Turning inward is one thing, but also staying within the present moment, allowing the mind to become still. And this is kind of a second opportunity. So we use this motivation not to think and ponder what we're going to do later, but actually coming home to the practice, the practice of returning and staying, noticing when the mind is wandering, meeting that wandering mind with kindness, gentleness, compassion, even. and inviting the mind back home to something here, something real, like the breath, or even the sound of our friend coming in. The moment is singular. There's no stress to find in the moment because there's nothing to oppose it. By arriving back into the moment again and again, it allows the mind to see itself through the stillness. So, inviting your attention, inviting your mind back home again to the moment, sitting, breathing, being. And in doing so, taking advantage of this sacred, precious time to be here, fully here. There's nothing to achieve. There's nowhere to go. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. All the while meeting everything that you find with openness and gentleness. So gently coming back, allowing the eyes to open, allowing the body to move when you're ready. Yeah, so welcome everybody. Mm. Mm. Uh, yeah, so we have about what 7, 8 people online today, about 15 of us in person. My name's Casey. Happy to be here with you. Anyone here, maybe in person, start? Anyone here for the first time? They here. And your name again? Was it Alex? Welcome, Alex. How'd you hear about us? Okay. Okay. We've only been here for 12 years. Come on inside LA. Let people know. Yeah. Wonderful. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah. Then over here.
Also Alex.
Oh, no way. Really? To Alex's first day. That's cool. Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
And
Oh, great. Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome. And then, yeah, anyone else online? Anyone new? Um, my favorite online person here, I don't know who it is, but it goes like they're going by yo 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 iPhone. Uh, yeah, so I thought we'd chat today about Sangha and why we don't awaken alone. So we had our Sangha holiday party last night. Always awesome to see everybody. So I thought it'd be nice to chat about Sangha. Oh, it's Soleil. Soleil saying I'm yo 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 iPhone. Um, and Anne's on here too. So thank you, Anne, for opening up her home last night for us for a holiday party. It was really wonderful. So Sangha is for those that you might not be familiar with the term, Sangha is the Buddhist term for spiritual community or spiritual friends. The Sangha. Buddha is very famous for saying, there's a great story. Ananda, one of his students, and his cousin actually, said to Buddha at one point, like, Buddha, I think Sangha is 50% of the practice. And Buddha said, no, Ananda, it's 100% of your practice. One of my favorite lines to remember. And we're speaking of the power and importance of spiritual community. And so we'll kind of go through why that is. That's a pretty powerful statement. It's 100% of your practice. What does he mean by that? The first piece to reflect on and to contemplate is that the Dharma is hard. So when we're meeting the world with the Dharma, what do I mean by that? We're meeting the world with, or at least we're attempting to, patience, generosity, kindness, all of these things. Um, that in and of itself is difficult. So we're Sangha, we're helping each other out as we move through the world and the different aspects of the world. We kind of are helping each other move through the world in this way. Like if you're in maybe within a workplace or another type of community, you might meet the world around you in a certain way. It happens to be a bit easier to meet the world with a bit of angst or maybe even pessimism or gossip or things like this. or division. This seems to be a bit easier. So when we attempt to meet the world with openness and being more inclusive and these types of things, it can be challenging. So we want to ask fellow Sangha members, how are you staying calm with all of this crap going on? That kind of thing. How are you meeting this? That kind of a thing. Uh, and it's in different tiers. Like one tier is kind of what I'm speaking to now, which is there's a phrase abandoning the unwholesome and nurturing the wholesome. So how do we do that? And there's a skillfulness to this. The other tier is the teachings, the teachings themselves, uh, meeting the teachings, understanding the teachings as we personally integrate these teachings and try them on. We come to places like this and we learn from each other, and we're able to grow in that way. So there's just that simple aspect of sharing the teachings and processing them and allowing them to really um, permeate into our beingness, but in a way that is not just uh, reading about it, but actually making it part of our own reality. So that's also very, very difficult. Like these teachings are extremely abstract at a certain point. Um, we meet concepts like how many of you, if you have been introduced to shunyata or emptiness teachings, how many of you just absorb that right away? We're just like, yeah, cool. There's just very abstract teachings, and we're moving into, we say the word spiritual a lot. I like to contemplate, what does that mean? Well, I'm spiritual. I like spirituality. It means like beyond body, like into the spiritual realm. This is in and of itself something extremely abstract. So how do we help each other through that? Then another tier, which may probably the most important tier or level of that we're helping each other through this, is even more into that abstract piece, which is discovering our true nature. I mean, it's very fascinating to think that we're kind of doing this together, like just now, like we meditated or whatever you want to call what we did. We watched our mind go nutballs for 30 minutes, and we're like, whoa, look what it's doing. Um, but it's so fascinating. Like we're sitting here, we're doing something together, but it's super individual, and it's interdimensional, right? It's if I was a coach of some kind, a personal trainer, I would say, do 10 push-ups, and I would watch you do the 10 push-ups. But when we meditate, you close your eyes or do whatever, and we're kind of doing our own thing, like, and it's very, very etheric, like whatever we're doing in there. We're meeting consciousness, and we're moving through levels of consciousness and subtlety of consciousness, and and hopefully arriving into essence love, like Sokni likes to call it. Sokni Rinpoche likes to call our true nature essence love. So the very essence of who we are, which is like impregnated with this innate um, love, right? And we're supposed to not only get there, but having somebody guide us there, and then have somebody have confidence in saying you're there, wherever there is. And by the way, all along the way, they will say that there is nowhere, right? And don't even try to get there is the best way to arrive there. So in Vajrayana Buddhism, they call this pointing out, like pointing out the true nature of mind. And then there's another set of teachings along with that, which is clarifying the natural state, which is clarifying the true nature of mind. So even once you arrive there or start getting glimpses there, how do you clarify that? Because the mind is very, very tricky. The mind wants to put these very subtle overlays, like a little bit of software always on top. Like even though we're in and resting at our essence, the mind will be like, we're in our essence. Then you're not anymore, right? The mind puts that overlay on top. So that process is extremely delicate. Like if we're 1 degree off, I like to think about like if you're walking, hiking, if you're 1 degree off, you keep walking 1 degree off, you're really far off, right? So our spiritual community, our teachers, each other helps us keep, helps keep us on track. The second piece to all of this, and I think actually where Buddha was headed when he was saying that Sangha is 100% of your practice, I think he was speaking to the relational aspect of suffering and awakening. It's relational. Like our suffering is relational. Like we think about love, approval, appreciation. These are basic human needs: love, approval, and appreciation. Think of all those things. Where do we get those things? Where do we get love, approval, and appreciation from? From others. From others. It's relational, right? So therefore, our suffering is relational. Like when we don't get love, approval, and appreciation, like how does that arise within us? As we're coming into beingness, like as children, um, we might be bullied at school, or we're trying to fit in, we're trying to find our place, all of this stuff, right? Um, our self-identity is being compiled by these experiences. Like where do I fit in? Like my self-identity, and a lot of comparing to what? To other people. It's relational. Like the suffering is relational, right? And we're still doing that, probably. We still have comparing mind, right? Like where we are, the status, and all of this stuff, right? So if the suffering is relational, the awakening is too, like the freedom, the liberation of that suffering. And so just like we need um, others, we need others for suffering. We need others for awakening. We need others for this. I think it's interesting where we think of like yogis and monks and whatnot. We think them as like solitary, like in their like they're just meditating and whatnot. But not really. They're always in community. They're always living together. Even Buddha, the famous summer retreats he would send the Buddhists on. When you hear stories from these things, the stories are all about how they're being annoyed by each other. You know, um, or what comes to mind, story I've told a bunch, but it's still so funny. Like when a bunch of Tibetans, they escaped from Tibet, and they're in India, and there's an older monk and a younger monk, and they're just sitting around. They're super bored, and they don't know where they're gonna go next, so they're just kind of hanging out. And this younger monk keeps going around to the older monks, and he's hitting them with a sticks. He's just running around, messing around. And this older monk, he keeps hitting this older monk. And every time he hits the older monk, he says, "Thank you, thank you." And the younger monk said, "Why do you keep saying thank you? I keep hitting you with a stick." He says, "I've dedicated this month to patience, and you're helping me with patience." Getting hit with a stick, you know. A perfect example. Patience is one of the six perfections, along with generosity, etc. Right? So he was using this relational aspect, right, to bring up impatience, so he can work on the patience. We need this. If we look at things like the seven factors or mindfulness, right, which is first of the seven factors of awakening. For those of you not have maybe not heard of the seven factors of awakening, the seven factors are that the innate positive attributes of the mind that we experientially want to lean into when we notice them arising in our daily life or practice. So mindfulness is the first one. They're not linear, but mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, calm, concentration, and equanimity. They're all like naturally arising factors, but they're hidden by five hindrances. What are the five hindrances? Doubt. He just goes for the big hitter right away. Doubt, which is the heaviest of them, yes. Torpor, dullness, laziness, sloth. Yeah, clinging, desire, attachment. What's the opposite of that one? Aversion. Cool. One more. Restlessness, exactly. Worry, the opposite of torpor, right? So most of the time we meet this in the mind first, right? And then we move into when there's a momentary negation of the hindrances, we move into the recognition of the seven factors, right? And we notice even when we speak of the hindrances too, many of the hindrances arise relate in relation, right? In relationship to something else. But also too, like the seven factors, just if we just begin with mindfulness, this could work anywhere, but mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment, something here, right? Paying attention to the present moment on purpose. I'm conscious that I'm doing it without judgment. Not like judgment's not arising, but we're not following judgment. So we're trying to see the bare, naked reality in this moment. So for us to really practice mindfulness and the four aspects of mindfulness of body, mindfulness of emotions, mindfulness of like mental phenomena, right? And then mindfulness of the environment around us. What Buddha is speaking to, like this is the entirety of your practice, because working through and transmuting like the alchemy of the Dharma, which is taking all of life and the data and the stuff that's coming through, filtering it through the non-judgmental awareness, like emptiness and the heart, right? We're moving it through what happens when I meet my reality with openness and spaciousness, non-judgmental awareness, and also gentleness and kindness. We could break it down like in those two really, really broad aspects, right? Mindfulness of emotion. The mindfulness of emotion comes out, the strong emotions usually come out because of what? Of other people pissing us off. That's what it is. No, but seriously, like a lot of these things are arising because uh, of things that have to do with relationship to others. Like I mentioned, like comparing mind, like doubt. Like even in the Dharma, we have comparing mind. You know, it's quite interesting, even comparing mind to think of the fact that when can I attain enlightenment, or like even something silly like this, it's in relationship, like how all of these things are in relationship to somebody else. Like, am I worthy of attaining Buddhahood in this meditation, like the Buddha did so powerfully, sat beneath the fig tree at some point and touched his hand on the earth and said, as the earth as my witness, I'm not going to leave until I'm enlightened. That's pretty crazy. What I love about that is the absolute removal of doubt. And speaking of comparing mind, he didn't say, well, that enlightenment thing, that's for these my teachers who I've been sitting with in the forest for 6 years, and those people over there, and for he's Hindu, so that's for Krishna, and that's for no, for me. And in fact, I'm so confident, there's such a removal of doubt at that moment. I'm so confident I'm going to make a commitment. I'm not going to leave this spot until I attain enlightenment. And so much had to do with that non-comparing mind, like I can do it, right? So all of these things, like the path itself, whether it be the hindrance arising, the seven factors, uh, being able to stay on the path, all of it, it's so intertwined with others. And speaking of mindfulness and emotions, um, what do we call difficult people famously in the Buddha Dharma, huh? Precious jewels, precious gems. Yeah. Do any of you know any precious gems, precious jewels? I saw Richard Gere on an interview recently, who's a famous Buddhist, famously Buddhist, maybe. Famous and Buddhist. There you go. Um, he said a phrase that I really liked. He says, there are people out there in power who are selling um, division, and he's like, do you really believe in that we're different? Do you really believe that we are kind of, we can say, different, or divided? uh they are selling that, they're selling that, us versus them. They're selling that. And when we are met with like a precious gem, this is somebody who maybe it's difficult. They don't think like us. Maybe we don't get along. We don't see eye to eye. We have different difference of opinions. This is actually what we need to to see unity. Like, we need that, right? Because all of the differences is BS. It's like how the self is compiled is BS. The thought that I'm my body, like I'm my thoughts. We say like my body. We say my thoughts. We say I was thinking. One of my favorites. I was thinking. Like, thoughts appear from nowhere. They abide nowhere. They just appear, and then we attach an I to that. Say, I was thinking. I thought. A sound can come, like the sound. There's like the sound of the heater, whatever that is. We don't attach to the sound. We don't say, I'm the sound. The cars are coming by. That's fine. But an emotion arises. Again, just something to notice in consciousness. It abides nowhere, it's just hanging out somewhere. But we're like, I'm angry. For some reason, we attach the I to that. So we compile these things that we attach the I to, like the body, the emotions, our thoughts, our beliefs, and then we call it me. And then somebody attacks a thought that you have, a belief, and you believe that they're attacking you. In the same way, you're attacking their BS, their thought stream. Like, your thought stream is going against their thought stream, you know. And the most important piece of this is to experience, I'm not the body. I'm not the emotion. I'm not my body sensations. So if we experience this, right? Because again, just listen to our words. I was thinking. Who was thinking? Hold on, someone said. Something about sound. Okay. I was thinking, who was thinking? My thoughts, whose thoughts? My body, whose body? All those things are shifting and changing. There's something else. Who is the owner of the thoughts? Who's the owner of the emotions? Who's the owner of this body? So in practice, what we're getting connected to is this essence love, like my own essence love, and my own difficulty with meeting not only myself, but accessing love along the way. Being mindful, and why mindfulness, brings us into innate compassion and kindness, is because we see our own hurt. We see all of these things that we've been hurt, how we're hurt, all of this stuff, right? And then innately, we're able to see, wow, they're hurting like me. They're acting out like I act out, right? I act out when I am feeling hurt and misunderstood or unheard. And look at that. They're doing that too, right? So when we see through, all of our stuff, we can meet those difficult people, but we have to have the difficult situations and the difficult people to be able to really practice, right? We can't do this on our own. Also a famous phrase, if you think you're enlightened, go hang out with your family, right? Um, Another quick little story about that was this guy said, he went to his his guru and he says, dear guru, you have to tell me a delicate way to ask my in-laws to leave. We have a big family and then they've stayed, they're not leaving, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, in-laws leaving, I don't know. He's like, don't you have other family that can hang out with you? And he's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, I want them to leave. He's like, why don't you just invite some more family over? And then so the house gets more and more family, more and more crowded. He goes, don't you have like a ranch style thing you could invite some of the animals into and all that stuff? And so he keeps doing this, and of course, the house is just like absolute chaos. And he's like, okay, now ask everyone to leave except your in-laws. He's like, oh, yeah, this is nothing. This is all good. He didn't realize how good he had it, with once he brought in all that other chaos, you know. But yeah, really understanding and meeting these these other people. So just to kind of recap real quick, um, the first piece that I was speaking to, like needing each other here, like how can we move through this life and in this time with love, grace, and kindness? It can be challenging to do that. How can we see people hurt people and have anger arising, but get in touch with the compassion beneath that anger and act out of the compassion and not the anger, for example? And then, of course, we need others to kind of allow us to pinpoint the things that we still need to look at. The last thing I wanted to to bring up is the loving kindness practice, and if we had enough time, I was going to actually move us through a loving kindness practice, but I think I'd rather maybe put us into groups here in a couple of moments first. But the class, for those of you that have not maybe done a Buddhist loving kindness practice, how we do it in at least one of the Buddhist schools, the Theravada school, is that we send loving kindness to different categories of people. So again, it's relational. So this is interesting that the cultivation of the heart, the first way that Buddha taught it, as far as we know, was like this. And how he taught it was send loving kindness and compassion to yourself. some people have difficulty with that, but you can see that it's more personal. Then send loving kindness to a loved one or a dear one. And so we're practicing cultivating the heart. The third piece is to send loving kindness to a neutral person. And again, this warmth of loving kindness is expanding out into more and more uh, just more inclusive, let's say. And then and then sending loving kindness to a difficult person, and then sending loving kindness to all beings everywhere. And I think if we reverse engineer that, we we see the fallacy and the slippery slope when, especially when we do that practice enough time, and we kind of abide in really sincerely wanting all beings to be happy. It is really a slippery slope when we start dividing up our love and compassion and kindness. It's a real slippery slope. When we say these are, I know a lot of people have difficulty with sending love and kindness to the difficult person, but that's a slippery slope, because where that edge is, like my love is for this person and not for that person, we're seeing more and more of that. At least I'm running into this. We're being told by powerful leaders to these groups of people are okay, these are not. And it's freaking strangers. Like it's not even people you know. It's just like we're just told those people over there, and it's just very, very random. It's just like very casual. Like that whole group of people, like that you don't know. And again, the illusion of difference, as Richard Gere was saying, the illusion of difference. They're selling that, and this is real world, you know. So when we move into loving kindness and compassion in this relational way, but even in meditation, and we're like, I sincerely want all beings to be happy, because hurt people. So that person that you don't like because they're hurting others, yes, I want them to be happy. I want them to be filled with loving kindness. I want them to be filled with precious generosity. Of course, I want them to be peaceful. I want their mind stream to be peaceful. I'm sending them love with such sincerity that I push all the hate out of their hearts and minds. Yeah, I want to send them loving kindness every single day. May they be at ease. May they be well. Right? So our core heart practice in the Buddha Dharma is all about others, right? So this is why we cannot awaken alone. We need others, right? So um, let's move into smaller groups. One thing I just always like to remember myself and like to contemplate. Um, it's super obvious, but one of my favorite aspects of Sangha is just this, like hanging out, of course, and then also the meditation piece. Like when we meditate, if you notice, well, maybe you're super disciplined and super amazing, but sometimes at home, if you say I'm going to meditate for half an hour, sometimes the mind, because of doubt, is a little trickster and says, "I suck today. I'm not. My mind's all crazy. I'm just going to get up after 15 minutes." But it's so cool that when we come here, we all meditate together. And sometimes there's a lot of suffering. I know it. I know that we're all not here, and it's not all awesome and rainbows and butterflies and glitter and all that. But you hang out and you stay, right? And if you go into retreat, maybe you wouldn't do like a self retreat for 5 days and meditate for 14 hours a day for 5 days. But if you go into retreat, guess what you do? You do that. you know, and then you're like, wow, I can do that. Right? So I think on a very practical level, I mean, Sangha is amazing, letting us know that I can meditate for half an hour, 45 minutes, or I could do days worth of meditating, and it's incredible like that. So so yeah, let's move into smaller groups. I'm going to take anyone online, and we're going to move over. If you're in person, let's just have groups of three, no more than four, and talk about how Sangha has benefited you um, in the ways that we've talked about, not only like all the positive, but the challenges. Like, oh, I've met challenges with others, and remember, Sangha is your spiritual friends. They're not always following fellow Buddhist practitioners. They can be your precious gems, obviously, right? One aspect is when we start on the path is we look at all beings as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and they're all our teachers. So it could be anybody. It could be the barking dog next door who needs a smooch. Yeah. All right. Yeah, smaller groups. Give me 1 second, online people. Hey there, everybody. Hey, Anthony. Hey,
Hey,
Joe.
Casey.
Hey, Soleil. Yo, yo, yo. Awesome. Hey, Josh. Hey, Ann. Yeah, anyone wanna comment on that?
Well, definitely enjoyed your talk. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Um,
And thank you.
it just if we were by ourselves all the time, there'd be much less conflict. Um, but there'd also be less learning. There'd be less chances to kind of view what's going on with us mentally and emotionally. Because it seems like when there is a conflict, uh, thoughts arise, emotions arise, and you have to come up with a solution to some issue, some problem. Um, I think I noticed when I first started meditating, there's a lot of thoughts. And then as time goes on, it gets to be like uh, like Stephen Levine said, it's like
Hmm.
you're standing at the railroad track and you're seeing empty boxcars go by. There's a thought
Hmm.
breakfast. There's a thought about my family. There's a thought about, and everything is cool. You stay in the present moment. You're just perceiving everything that comes. And then all of a sudden, in one box car, it looks like a person that looks like you, and it's being chased by a tiger. And that's those difficult people. It's like, oh my God. And you stick with that a long time. You deal with those thoughts a long time because you want to see if the tiger got you.
Yeah.
Uh, But I think that's kind of what it's like in terms of the progress you make um, because of Sangha, because you know you see that your mind gets attached, and you wonder if the tiger's going to get you, and then you remember, just let it go, and
Yeah.
that's kind of part of the whole process. We're constantly cutting off thought and realizing that we're getting attached to things
Hmm.
that we don't need to get attached to, and we're letting things cause us to suffer. But if you cut off thought, there is no self and not self. There is no inside and outside. There is no suffering. Um, so it definitely uh, you know it is a learning experience, I'll say.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
uh,
Thanks. Hey, Allison.
Hi, Casey.
Anyone else want to share anything?
Just like share anything on overall, or did you have like a specific prompt?
Oh, yeah, the prompt is fairly open about how Sangha has helped your practice in whatever way, and that could even be precious gems.
Mhm.
Precious
Yeah,
gems, yeah.
yeah.
Something I know I've noticed is like when I first started this journey of meditation, um I was in a time when I was still processing a lot of my past and what I lived through. And back then, I didn't really realize the importance of noticing um, and acknowledging what arises.
Mm,
It was kind of like I see it and boom, kind of like cut it off, like slash, you know. So I kept, my meditation, that's kind of what it looked like. But it wasn't until I started practicing mindful self-compassion that I kind of slowly started to realize that I need to kind of see, I need to actually kind of see what's there
mm,
and meet it, and maybe touch it with some warmth, and
mm,
then I can let it go or let it fizzle away.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
I would say that's how Sangha has been very helpful for me because we practice it, especially when we're getting into small groups such as
mm-hmm,
these.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
normalized within our Sangha.
right. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. And I love that example because it's just like s- another reminder that Sangha is bringing up on how to meet the world around us and our experience. Like just
Yeah.
that, just like I love just that. Just like, hey, this is how an opportunity for us to meet, which again is normalized for us, but not so normal in the world to
Yeah.
to meet ourselves or phenomena arising or, in that way.
Mhm.
Just great reminders. Yeah, thank you.
Casey, you said something really interesting. I could tell you in the Buddhist group that I have been practicing with for 30 years, we don't use the term Sangha, but they have brought up a lot that we're all like a bag of potatoes, all rubbing up against each other. We're all
Hmm.
in the same bag. And I
Hmm.
and I think to myself, oh, I don't want to rub up against that potato.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that close in this bag of potatoes, but it is very important. And you grow. And that's what the important thing that you said is that we need people to grow. And we may not want to be in the bag with them and rub up with these people. We want to get out of the bag and
Hmm.
don't want to rub up against that potato, but we need to in order to grow.
Yeah.
Because it's those people that help us see ourselves and bring up the emotions that we're having. And without them, we wouldn't have those experiences to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the first community that I lived at, they would call it polishing the stones. Same
Mhm.
thing where like, you rub stones together and eventually they get polished.
Yes.
And we were all convinced that the teacher guru there would was recruiting challenging people.
Right.
Like, where did you come from? Why are you here? You're like, I mean, it was like, and he loved those people. He loved them. Oh my God, did he love them? Loved them. We couldn't understand why. I couldn't at the time. Now I look back and being like, oh, yeah, they were there for us.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Another really good and important thing you said that really sticks out in my mind is that we are being sold division. This group of people is better than that group of people. It's
Mhm.
awful because
Oh,
if you've traveled like most of us have, you notice that we're all the same.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter which country you go to, we all are the same, basically, fundamentally. We all want the same things. We want peace and happiness and
Mhm.
prosperity. We want good health. We want financial freedom. Um, yeah, so,
Yeah,
and it's hard not to buy into that, especially when we turn on the news and we formulate opinions. We are being sold something. We're being sold that division.
yeah.
And it takes a wise person or a discerning person to not buy what's being sold to us and to remember that we are fundamentally all the same. The only difference is people that are harmful or people that are bad and people that are working for good. That's the big
Mhm.
differences.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. That's why coming together is like this is important.
Yes.
So we could all share in this and spread this kind of consciousness, where
Mm,
it's inclusive, and
definitely.
and they also sell belonging because they sell belonging. Like if you hate this group, you're gonna belong with us. And
Yes.
actually, but this is the true belonging, inclusive. See, we all belong.
Yes.
That you have. Look at the friends you can connect with when you bring in everyone in.
Mm,
'Cause they're selling that. They actually sell the love. They sell hate. It's masked as love. Like, oh, you
yes.
belong with us.
Yes.
They're playing on people's insecurities like that.
Yeah.
But good to see you, Josh. By the way, and say hi. How are you?
Hi everybody.
Yeah,
Hi.
I
thanks
just
for
wanted
jumping on.
yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts, especially under the circumstances, just kind of a logistic thing, how important you guys are to me because I have this
Aw,
crazy schedule and I missed your party yesterday because of
yeah.
I have 14 nutcrackers between this weekend and last weekend, and you can see the hall behind me.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and we started in 12 minutes. So, but
Oh,
so
wow.
I got on while I was driving down to listen to your talk, Casey,
Thank you
and
so much.
which was really beautiful and exactly you guys are exactly what I need right now, and I wish I could do it in person. But it's really I've I started back in June, and I really felt like I needed a sense of community, and you guys have given that to me, and so Sangha is everything, and you are the most amazing
Aw,
Sangha in the world.
aw, you're so precious. Well, thank you so,
Yeah,
so much. And we're sending you lots of energy.
thank
So
you,
you're working really, really hard. And yeah,
thank
so we're
you,
sending you so much energy to get through your day with some equanimity.
thank you. That means a lot. Thank you,
Yeah, it means a lot to us that you popped on and you're being so busy. So that's incredible. Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I got to get going.
All right, bud. All right. See you. See you. Yeah. Oh, how cool.
Mhm.
So fun. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it back. We have like 10 more minutes, so I'm gonna bring it back to the larger group. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Casey.
Right. So, yeah, anyone want to share with the larger group? Um, Always stay, we always like to say, like, when we share with larger groups, I forgot to mention too, with smaller groups too, but we just stay with our own experience and use the I pronoun, so everyone could have a safe place to share. Yeah. Yeah.
Just reminded of when I started learning about Buddhism, I had the books and I had audio, meditations, Sharon Salzberg or Pema Chodron or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was lovely, but it wasn't lasting. It just wasn't, I wasn't engaged. There's got to be more to it. And then somebody told me, there's a, Inside LA Long Beach group. I'm just, what? And that was what, maybe 12 years ago now. And it's just made, I can't imagine my practice without the Sangha. It's not a practice complete, So
Thank you.
I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah, so for those online, if you caught it all, Sue was just saying that she had read a bunch and before, but really coming to the Sangha in person really solidified her practice. Yeah.
It's nourishing to be.
It's nourishing. Yeah. It's nourishing to be, yeah, like this.
Get my sustenance in this time, these types of situations, and it's also, I spent a lot of time alone, and it's nice to have people to be with.
Mm-hmm.
But most especially people that make sense.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Just Sangha and stuff, since we're talking about that. Yeah, I feel very grateful to be a part of this group and been here for a few years, and yeah, grown so much from having known everyone here. So I was sharing with the group that when I first started coming here, like I came to try and like kind of figure out my social anxiety, which was really crazy back in the day. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but like coming here, like I figured out how to regulate with other people's nervous systems or whatever. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, meditators are all about that kind of stuff. So, anyways, so
Yeah,
yeah,
wonderful.
expressing gratitude.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And good job on you, by the way, for coming into a group of people like that, and sitting and meditating when everything's really quiet. Like,
Yeah.
I never knew how much anxiety I was carrying until I started meditating as a group and just being so self-conscious, like not wanting to move or whatever. Just like it's very interesting. At least it was for me. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah. Brian.
Really, I really love having good, deep spiritual friendships with people. And so my Sangha is beyond this room.
Yeah.
Right? And what I love about Sangha is that this work is mostly all internal, right? And yet with Sangha, within your Sangha, you can share that work and maybe find some clarity or support,
Mm-hmm.
acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I think you gave me a good reframe because I'm pretty new to this group too. And all these years, I'm like, I need to find my group, like spiritual people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Sangha was already there all along, including all the people who are testing me.
Yeah, right. You're like, oh, I had those precious gems all along. Yeah.
Precious gems. So yeah, that's a nice kind of expansive reframe to think about how much I've grown spiritually through the connections with people who aren't necessarily quote on the path, but we're all on some path.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate how like the song to me like is like inherently very like, political and radical and like anti-capitalist and like emphasizes like this like sense of like interconnectedness and like interdependence and that like so I feel like so much you're like in thinking like comparing mind like we're taught to believe that we have to be able to do everything by ourselves and be good at and competent at like things by ourselves like even like scheduling time to practice and like the fact that there's like this container or
Is that the girl I love?
like
What's her name?
energy to bring us all together to keep
Ash.
practicing like and it's not just dependent on like my own competence or like
Natasha.
or like ability to schedule and get here or whatnot is it teaches me I think to reframe like how I go about the world and hopefully it does that for others too that like yeah we support each other in many ways and we need that more than ever so it means a lot just like sharing resources like getting places like getting picked up like it's like learning together and yeah it's like super interdependent and I love that so
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, for those online, Natasha was speaking towards just uh, many aspects of the practice, but coming together, sharing resources, being supported in different aspects of the practice and life through the Sangha. Yeah. Yeah, Anthony.
Yeah, I just wanted to say how wonderful I think this Sangha is. I've practiced with a Zen group before, and it's very much you and the teacher, but there's no small groups where you have this experience of realizing we're all kind of going through the same thing and interacting with each other more. Um, so I really appreciate the structure of Inside LA. I find it to be very supportive and helpful. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're finishing up here time-wise, but one thing I want to mention to the larger group, a friend and I were talking about and something came up out of a hate group and just kind of that situation with hate groups. And I was thinking of like if I had found out that a group of 30 people were meeting like in a hate group, I would feel like that's very dangerous. Uh, and kind of, powerfully dangerous in some way. And so we might not think of much of 30 people coming together and speaking of being inclusive and just basic human kindness, things like this, but it actually is, it's actually really powerful, right? It's very powerful to do this. And what we need to do is just like the 30 the hate group of 30 people, what would be the most dangerous is that they would influence others to tag along and they would grow and they would teach their kids and this and that, right? In the same way, like Sangha is about our community. Like when we dedicate the merit, like we're going to do in a moment here, it's about going out into our community and speaking and acting in ways that make people feel safe and included and just the consciousness just we were swimming in a fish bowl of consciousness. Like if you close your eyes and you're in some kind of place that's not so peaceful, you could feel it. We could feel, where obviously we've all been in the room and felt, ooh, this is weird in here, right? Something's happening. if you walk into a holy place, if you should be able to, you could feel all this with your eyes closed. So to think that we're not swimming in a consciousness um, is a bit of ignorance, actually. So sitting and sending loving kindness to one another, sitting in meditation like this, wishing all beings to be happy and free like this is powerful on many, many different levels. So hate groups and things like this should look at us as dangerous, like we're dangerously loving, right? Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have like massive, massive love and compassion happening, right? Um, okay, so yeah, let's just sit for one more moment here and just dedicate the merit. We dedicate the merit because our brothers and sisters, these beautiful beings that we share this small little earth with, many of them don't have this precious and rare opportunity to come sit and take in and reach within to their own wisdom. So we dedicate the merit that all beings everywhere share in the goodness, the wisdom, the love, and the compassion, the togetherness, the sangha, the community, the interconnectedness that we have experienced today. May all of this go out to all beings everywhere. May all beings everywhere without exception, may they all be happy. May they all be truly, truly happy and free from suffering. Om Mani Padme Hum. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone online.
Thank you. That was great. Super sweet.
Thank you, Soleil. One
One
announcement.
One is obviously remember Donna, and the other is that our friend Kathy, who usually sits here, had knee replacement surgery on Thursday. Everything went well. She is my neighbor directly across the street, so keeping an eye on her. But she had mentioned that a couple of people had mentioned meals or something. So if you're interested in doing that, let me know, and I'll help facilitate them. So
Oh, thank you so much, Sue.
yeah, she's doing well.
Thank you.
Another one.
And Kevin, yeah?
That I bring this up. We're planning a trip to LACMA on the 26th, the day after Christmas. And I don't know the details. Sushila, who's typically here, is the person.
We're meeting at Einstein's Bagels, I think at 11:30, like a parking lot.
Which Einstein?
We'll
I
put it.
forgot what street it's on.
Bellflower.
Bellflower Street,
So 26 LACMA
11:30.
trip, 11:30. We will put it on, of course, the Facebook and newsletter,
Yeah.
but just kind of save the date.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're interested.
And remind me too, what is showing there right now?
It's like a Buddhist exhibit.
The Buddhist exhibit.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, Buddhist art and whatnot. I forget the theme,
It
but
might be,
the
like sculptures.
yeah, but the 26th, save the date for that if you want to go.
And it's for Ocean.
Wonderful. Cool, cool.
If you're interested.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, Casey.
See you.